The last words he threw at me still echoed in my mind. "Stay away, Mom. I don't need you in my life." It broke me. I carried him for 9 months, raised him through sleepless nights, sacrificed everything, only to be pushed aside like a stranger. Weeks passed in silence. Then one evening the phone rang. His voice was softer now, almost desperate. "Mom, I need $25,000 for tuition." Tell me, have you ever been cast aside, only for the very person who rejected you to come back begging for help? Stay with me. It didn't happen overnight. The distance between us grew slowly, like cracks in a wall you don't notice until it's ready to fall. When he went to college, he wanted freedom. I understood that. I remembered being young, craving independence. But freedom turned into coldness, and coldness turned into rejection. One afternoon, after I'd stopped by his apartment unannounced with a bag of groceries, he snapped, "Mom, stop showing up. I don't need you here. Stay away." The words landed like stones. I stood there, holding that bag of food, my hands trembling. "I just wanted to help," I whispered. He rolled his eyes. "I'm not a kid anymore. I don't need your help." I left quietly, but inside, something shattered. For days I replayed it in my head, the tone, the dismissive look, the finality of it. I tried to convince myself he didn't mean it, that it was stress or youthful pride, but the silence afterward confirmed what I feared. He wanted space, so I gave it to him. I stopped calling as often. I didn't send messages every morning like I used to. I let the silence grow, even though it gnawed at me. Birthdays came and went with a quick text. Holidays felt emptier. I told myself this was what he wanted, but in truth, it was tearing me apart. Then, weeks later, the phone rang. I almost didn't answer. I thought it might be another reminder that I was unwelcome. But when I picked up, his voice wasn't sharp this time. It was tired, worried. "Mom," he began, hesitating. "I need your help." My heart leapt, even though the wound was still fresh. "What is it?" I asked carefully. He sighed. "It's tuition. I messed up my finances. I need $25,000 to stay enrolled this semester." I gripped the phone tighter, my chest aching. The same son who told me to stay away was now reaching for me, not for love, not for comfort, but for money. In that moment, the pain returned sharper than ever, because sometimes being needed isn't the same as being wanted. I sat there with the phone pressed to my ear, his voice echoing in my kitchen. $25,000. The number was staggering, but the words behind it cut even deeper. Part of me wanted to say yes immediately. I wanted to be needed again, to matter, even if only for my bank account. But another part of me, the part still bleeding from his stay away, hesitated. I closed my eyes, steadying my breath. "Do you remember the last time we spoke in person?" I asked quietly. He was silent for a moment. "Mom, please. I didn't mean it like that. I was just stressed." I swallowed hard. "You told me to stay away. Do you know what it's like to hear that from your own child?" His sigh carried through the line. "I was wrong." "I get it, okay? But right now, I really need you." The desperation in his voice tugged at me. I pictured him as a boy, clutching my hand on his first day of school, tears streaming down his cheeks because he didn't want me to leave. And now, here he was, a young man begging me not to leave him in a different way. But the wound still throbbed. "Do you need me, or do you need my money?" I asked, the question trembling in the air. He stammered, "Both, I guess." "I can't do this without you." I felt tears well up, slipping down my cheeks before I could stop them. For years, I had sacrificed late shifts, second jobs, skipped vacations, all to give him a future. And still it hadn't been enough for him to see my worth beyond what I provided. "I don't know if I can just write a check," I said slowly. "Not after everything." There was silence on the other end. Then his voice cracked. "Please, Mom." "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things. I was arrogant, and I pushed you away. But right now, I don't know where else to turn."
I could hear the sincerity creeping in, but I could also hear fear. Fear of losing his place in school, fear of failure. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just about money. It was about him finally facing the consequences of pushing me aside. My hands shook as I set the phone on the counter, staring at the faded family photos on the fridge. In every picture, he was smiling in my arms, on my lap, at my side. I thought of the years I held him when no one else would. The nights I stayed up sewing costumes, the mornings I skipped meals so he could eat. I picked the phone back up, my voice steady. "I'll think about it. But this isn't just a transaction. If I help you, things have to change between us." He sniffled, his pride cracking. "I understand." For the first time in years, I felt the balance shift. I wasn't just the mother in the background waiting for scraps of attention. I was the one holding the decision that could shape his future. And in that moment, I realized, this time, it would be on my terms. That night, I barely slept. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, torn between the ache of his words and the echo of his plea. "Stay away. I need you." Two voices from the same sun, pulling me in opposite directions. By morning, I knew I had to make a choice, but not the kind he expected. When he called again, I didn't stall. "I'll help you," I said, my voice calm. "But not without conditions." He hesitated. "Conditions?" "Yes. If I write this check, it won't just be money disappearing into tuition. It will be an agreement between us. You will respect me. You will include me in your life, and you will learn to stand on your own 2 feet instead of using me as a safety net whenever it's convenient." The line was quiet. I imagined him sitting there, pride battling with desperation. Finally, he muttered, "That's a lot." "So is $25,000, I replied firmly. He sighed, and for the first time, I heard something different in his tone. Humility. "What exactly do you want from me?" I leaned against the kitchen counter, steadying myself. "I want phone calls that aren't just about money. I want honesty. I want gratitude, not entitlement. And most of all, I want you to see me as more than your personal bank." He swallowed audibly. I can do that." "No," I said, sharper than I meant to. "Don't say you can. Show me. Because if I help you now and you go back to shutting me out, this will be the last time." Another pause. Then, softer. "I get it. I really do. I'm sorry, Mom. I was stupid. I thought pushing you away made me independent. But I see now. I need you, not just your money. You've always been there, and I treated you like you didn't matter." Tears pricked my eyes, but I kept my voice steady. "I never wanted perfection from you. I only wanted respect." He exhaled shakily. "The fight leaving him, I'll earn it. I promise." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I said quietly, "I'll transfer the money tomorrow. But remember this moment. Remember how it feels to ask, to depend, to realize who's been in your corner all along. Because one day,
I won't be here to bail you out. And by then, I hope you'll have learned how to carry yourself with gratitude." He whispered, "Thank you, Mom." Not rushed, not perfunctory, but real. 2 words I had been waiting years to hear. After we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the checkbook. Writing that number hurt. But it didn't hurt as much as his words had weeks before, because this time, I wasn't just handing him money. I was handing him a mirror. And for once, I felt he might finally look into it. The transfer cleared 2 days later. I didn't tell anyone else in the family. This was between me and my son. When he called to confirm the tuition had gone through, his tone was different. No rush, no arrogance, just relief, and something softer. "Mom, I don't know how to thank you." "You just did," I replied gently. From then on, something shifted. The calls didn't stop, but they changed. Instead of short demands, they became conversations. He'd ask about my day, about the garden, about the old recipes he used to love. Sometimes he called just to hear my voice when he was stressed.
At first, I braced myself, waiting for the pattern to repeat, for him to slip back into taking me for granted. But the weeks stretched into months, and the respect held steady. One afternoon, he surprised me by coming home for a weekend visit. He stood in the doorway, holding a bouquet of flowers, something he hadn't done since he was a boy. "These are for you," he said shyly. We sat on the porch for hours, talking about his classes, his worries, his dreams. At one point, he admitted, "I thought independence meant cutting you out. But now I see. It means standing on my own while still honoring the people who got me here." Those words lifted a weight I'd carried for years. The real victory wasn't the repayment of money. I never expected that. It was the repayment of respect. The recognition that I mattered, not for what I gave, but for who I was. Looking back, I realized the tuition check wasn't just a financial lifeline. It was a boundary, a lesson, and a bridge. By setting conditions, I hadn't pushed him away. I had pulled him closer in the only way he could understand. Now, when he calls, I don't feel like an outsider intruding on his life. I feel like his mother again. Not perfect, not flawless, but present, and finally valued. And the greatest lesson? Sometimes love means saying yes, but sometimes it means saying yes with terms. Because unconditional love doesn't mean unconditional tolerance of disrespect. As I folded the checkbook back into the drawer that night, I smiled. Money comes and goes. Respect, once earned, stays. And in the quiet of my kitchen, I whispered to myself, "He sees me now." In the end, the $25,000 wasn't just about tuition. It was about respect. My son once told me to stay away, but when he needed me most, he realized who had always stood in his corner. I didn't just write a check. I set boundaries. And through those boundaries, he finally saw me not as a wallet, but as his mother. Our relationship changed, not because of money, but because of the lesson behind it. Sometimes love means sacrifice, but sometimes it means drawing a line so that love can be recognized, not used. So let me ask you, have you ever had to teach someone you love a hard lesson before helping them? Did it change the way they treated you afterward? Share your story in the comments, and stay with us for more tales where tough love leads to lasting respect.